Welcome back to another episode of Pre-Purchase, the show where we give you straight-up gameplay and our first impressions of the latest games releasing. I'm Jasmeet. And today we're talking about Mixtape. This is the newest game from Beethoven and Dinosaur, the indie studio behind The Artful Escape, which I absolutely loved back when it came out. They make these small, creative, story-driven experiences that are more about vibe and emotion than complex mechanics. Mixtape has been generating a lot of buzz and a lot of confusion, so let's clear that up right now. Mixtape is a very small game. It's $18 on Steam, about 4 hours long, and it's an interactive story. You follow 3 high school friends in the 1990s on their last night together before one of them moves away to pursue her life goals. There's a big end of summer party they're trying to get to, and along the way they're trying to score alcohol and drugs. Think Superbad but more indie and less gross out. So, let's address the elephant in the room immediately. The gameplay is incredibly simple. You walk around environments, talk to characters, click on items to learn more. There are a few chase sequences where you're running and jumping onto 2D or 3D planes. There are a couple of skateboarding sections where you're going downhill, dodging cars, doing very simple tricks. And there are a few other small interactive moments I won't spoil. None of it is complex. Let's start with the presentation. Visually, Mixtape is stunning. It uses a mixed media approach, kind of like the Spider-Verse movies, with a low frame rate on character animations, but set against highly detailed, almost photorealistic environments. Sometimes the game throws in real photographs or video footage, blended seamlessly with the animation. And it gets trippy. The game goes cerebral and dreamlike, especially during emotional peaks. The real star, though, is the music. And I'm not just saying that because the game is called Mixtape. The soundtrack is a curated selection of songs from the 80s and 90s, but not just the obvious nostalgia bangers you'd expect. There are deeper cuts, weird tracks, stuff from artists you might know but songs you've never heard, and even some genuine surprises. The game paces these songs to hit at exactly the right story moments. I will say, there's a notable lack of hip-hop in the soundtrack. Given how huge hip-hop was in the 90s, that's a bit of a miss. But the songs they did choose are excellent. The game doesn't just lean on, say, Nirvana or Pearl Jam, though there might be some of that in there. It goes for a mix of alternative rock, shoegaze, some synth stuff, and a few genuine oddballs. My advice: don't look up the tracklist before playing. Go in blind and let the song surprise you. Let's talk about nostalgia, because that's a dangerous thing. A lot of media these days uses 90s nostalgia as a crutch, just pointing at things and saying remember this? Mixtape doesn't do that. Yes, there are blockbuster references. There are 7-Eleven slushies. There's a floppy disk in a drawer with WordPerfect written on it. The friends use an old camcorder to film themselves at the party. They take photo booth pictures. The characters are the heart of the game. The 3 leads are solid. They walk that fine line between being 90s archetypes, the snobby music kid, the rebellious one, the earnest one, and actually feeling like real people. The voice acting is good, especially for the main trio. They can be annoying at times, but that's the point. They're teenagers. They're supposed to be a little obnoxious. The story itself is a coming-of-age tale about friendship, growing apart, and the fear of change. We've seen a lot of these in games and movies, many of them just trying to imitate John Hughes. Mixtape has influences, sure, but it feels like its own thing. It's not trying to be Ferris Bueller or The Breakfast Club. It's a little rough around the edges, a little more grounded, and also more willing to get weird and dreamlike. One thing I appreciated is that Mixtape isn't trying to destroy you emotionally. A lot of indie story games go for the gut punch, the tragic twist, the devastating ending. Mixtape is more bittersweet. It's about the end of an era, not the end of a life. The friends are moving on, but they're not dying. There's sadness, but also hope. That made it easier to digest and, honestly, more rewatchable. If you played Beethoven and Dinosaur's previous game, The Artful Escape, you'll recognize the DNA. That game was also short, also focused on music, also visually wild, but it was more of a psychedelic rock opera. Mixtape is smaller, more personal, more grounded. It's less about a grand cosmic journey and more about a single night in a small town. Both games prioritize vibe and emotion over complex gameplay. If you like The Artful Escape, you'll probably like Mixtape. So, who is Mixtape for? It's for people who enjoy story-driven games like Life is Strange, Firewatch, or What Remains of Edith Finch. It's for people who grew up in the 90s, or even just have a fondness for that era and want a dose of authentic nostalgia without feeling pandered to. It's for people who don't mind simple gameplay, just want to get lost in a good story with great music. It's not for people who need challenging mechanics, long playtimes, or high replayability. I want to circle back to the voice acting because it's a mixed bag. The three leads, our teenage protagonists, are really good. They sound like real teenagers, not like adults doing impressions. There's a naturalism to their delivery that sells the friendship. But the parent character I mentioned earlier? That performance felt stiff and rehearsed. It pulled me out of a couple of key scenes. It's not a deal breaker. The game is short and those scenes are few, but it's noticeable because Mixtape is only about 4 hours. It never overstays its welcome. The pacing is tight. You're never stuck doing tedious busy work or repeating sections. Each scene leads naturally to the next, and the music tracks act like chapter breaks. I played through into sittings, and I never felt bored or ready for it to end. If anything, I wanted a little more, maybe one more character interaction, one more song. I'll be honest, I didn't have the same teenage experience as these characters. I didn't have a tight friend group getting into mischief. I was more of a loner. But I still connected with the game. It's not about having the exact same memories, it's about recognizing the feelings. The fear of being left behind, the excitement of a new beginning, the awkwardness of trying to say something meaningful and failing. So, final verdict. Mixtape is a short, sweet, creative little game. It's not going to blow your mind with mechanical depth. It's not a 100-hour epic. But it executes its vision perfectly. The music is great, the visuals are stunning, the characters are authentic, and the story is bittersweet and charming. For $18, you're getting a 4-hour experience that actually made me feel something. In a world of bloated open worlds and endless live service grinds, that's refreshing. Should you buy it? If you love story games, if you have any affection for the 90s, if you just want a chill evening with some great music, yes, absolutely. If you need fast-paced action or deep RPG systems, skip it. And if you're on the fence, wait for a sale, but honestly, $18 is already a fair price. It's less than a movie ticket for me these days, and you get more hours and more emotional payoff. Before I wrap up, a quick shout out to Beethoven and Dinosaur. If you haven't played The Artful Escape, please do yourself a favor and check it out. It's a psychedelic indie gem that's unlike anything else. These developers approach games with a creative, artistic vision that's rare in the industry. They're not trying to make the next blockbuster, they're making cool, unique experiences. I'm glad they exist. That's the pre-purchase. Pros, cons, my honest opinion. Now I want to hear yours. Have you played Mixtape? What did you think of the music? Are you into these kinds of story games? Let me know in the comments. If this video helped you, hit that like button. New here? Consider subscribing, we've got more reviews coming. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.